Welcome, folks, once again from the Reading Bitcoin Center. We're happy to have on our screens the famous Michael Atwood, originator of the Oshi app. And he has started our local meetup here in Reading and got the ball rolling. And we have been troopers, picked up the ball, and we are rolling now. We're podcasting. We're so happy to have Michael on the app. Also, we have the Twitter famous Lauren Hoddle. He's reaching out through the stratosphere, bringing podcasters on. Amazing content, deep thinker, having spent thousands of hours researching. And also on the bottom left, we have visionary Jed Powers, the visionary originator of the Reading Bitcoin Center, who has invested. He has a strong desire to promote Bitcoin to the world and through education and adoption. And he also, as well as Michael, has spent thousands of hours learning and researching. And I'm humbled to be in their presence. I learn every day. But Lauren, kick us off. What do you got going, buddy?
Man, I'm just honored to be sitting in this room with Reading OG Bitcoiner, father of the Oshi app. And as you mentioned, Alan, he is the granddad of the Reading Bitcoin meetup. And I'll just give a quick story about the first time I met Michael. I was actually wearing a Bitcoin shirt, may have even been the one I'm wearing now, in our local butcher shop. And he walked up to me and introduced himself and started telling me about Oshi. And I was blown away. I was like, here in Reading? And you did this? And immediately when I got home, I was looking up the Oshi app. And but I think I'll let Jed have a few words, and I think maybe our first question to Michael will be maybe a brief introduction of his project and what it is and how it works. But go ahead and throw a few words out there, Jed.
How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing awesome, man. You guys are too kind.
Hey, man, you started it, so we're going to continue it. And yeah, we're just happy that you've been supporting us and basically giving the word about what's going on here in Reading to people. So it's kind of spreading through you as well on Twitter and what you do. So I want to say thank you for that. And let's keep this circular economy going.
Absolutely. So, let's do it. I feel like this is my funeral. You're like, let me just tell you a story about Michael.
Yeah.
He was here before and now he's gone.
Yeah. He's our papa.
Yeah.
And he's come home. He's come home to check up on us.
Awesome.
We're holding down the fort amazingly. We had an amazing meetup. We do it every week. Last night was our meetup, and none of us wanted to leave. These guys were straggling there and closed the bar down and stayed 45 minutes after they were closed even. So it's been great.
In typical Bitcoin fashion, right? It's like, all right, everybody, it's time to leave. And then you spend like another 30 minutes in the parking lot. Then you're like, you guys just want to go somewhere else and talk more about Bitcoin?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, you guys have done such a killer job. I'm like, I just kicked it off and you guys took it, you ran with it. You got the Reading Bitcoin Center now. You guys have like the podcast running. You guys are providing a massive signal to Bitcoiners and Bitcoin meetups across the country. I mean, your reach is global reach. I mean, you guys are inspiring a lot of people. Make no mistake. So it's really awesome to have you guys give me credit for that. You guys are doing it, not me.
No, man, don't be shy. I was listening to Robert Breedlove like 2 days ago, and he had the Podfather himself, Adam Curry, on. Adam Curry is giving Michael a shout out on Robert's show. I was like, yeah, I know that guy. He's our dad. He set our whole shit up. I met him at a meat market.
How about that, right?
Cool, man. Yeah.
I know. How about that? I remember I was showing Oshi to Robert Breedlove in like 2020 at BitBlock Boom.
Wow.
And he was always more of a store of value, like from a deep philosophical thing. So he was like, oh, this is cool. But yeah, it is kind of funny. He's probably like, oh, you know what? I think someone talked to me about this before years ago. So that's cool. I was really humbled by that. That was awesome to hear that. But yeah, the meat market story though, like Isn't that funny? Like how, because now
Mhm.
it's all about like, oh, like let's sell beef for Bitcoin and let's do all this. And yeah, it's just coming full circle here. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
we actually want to get into that too, because we before you jumped on here, we were fine tuning all of our newly acquired equipment and whatnot from all our podcast rooms and over here, and we were talking about the beef initiative. So why don't you start off by giving us just the overview of Oshi and everything, and then maybe we'll like parlay straight into the beef initiative, because we've seen signs out of town here that farmers have erected saying, hey, you can buy beef from us, and we started John about it before you came on. So go ahead and shoot us off with the whole the outlay of the Oshi app.
Perfect. Yeah. So ultimately, what Oshi does is it helps businesses get introduced to Bitcoin for more than just like, hey, do you want to accept Bitcoin? And God forbid if they say yes, because most people are pretty much unprepared to be like, okay, well, you can download this wallet. Like, so we try to really give the business owners not only we kind of white glove them and get them onboarded with a Bitcoin payment provider that's right for them, whether it's a more self-sovereign option or it's like a custodial option. That's okay generally, right? At least to get their feet wet, get them started. We help them get set up there. We also help them offer incentives for consumers to actually pay in Bitcoin, because it doesn't matter if the transaction fees are lower and you actually get Bitcoin, which, you don't have to get this dirty fiat anymore. You can try something new. It doesn't matter if no one's going to pay with it, if they don't even know how to pay with it, if they have no incentive to pay with it. So we give them the ability to offer different incentives to their customers, like Bitcoin cashback rewards, not Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Sats back rewards, or just discounts, pay with Bitcoin discounts, right? So that it can attract this ever growing community of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency enthusiasts, and ultimately kind of shepherd them to these businesses that inevitably, whether you're a Bitcoiner and you're already looking for places to spend, or like I said, you're a cryptocurrency enthusiast that doesn't understand what's going on yet, but like you're going to be able to make transactions in Bitcoin, and it's going to get people one step closer to understanding it. So we provide businesses with an app that they can, get visibility, whether they're selling beef, or they're selling like escape rooms or, barbecue or whatever the case may be, right? It can be anything. We have people selling coffee. We have people buying, like I said, beef boxes. And, we could jump right into the beef initiative aspect of it and how that got started.
Yeah, that's super interesting. For me, I always hear Texas Slim has got to be one of the favored go-to guys for all podcasts now, because I've heard him, I mean, 3 times a week probably for the last couple of months on every podcast known to mankind. I just heard him today on with our buddy Cedric on the Matrix Bitcoin Matrix podcast. So yeah, we're all curious about it too, because Alan is hooked up with some folks locally that own beef, and actually another guy that owns buffalo. So that's be interesting. And we all want to buy, quarter cow, half a cow, and put it in our freezers. So go ahead and hit us up with that and let us know the whole story on the beef initiative and how your app and whatnot are playing a role in that.
Yeah. So it was probably like October of last year, and my co-founder, so JP, I was actually reading books about like regenerative agriculture. I kind of got turned on to that by man, I'm totally drawing a blank on his name, but he was really ushering in that movement early on. He has like a ranch in like Oklahoma now or something. Untapped Growth.
Yes,
Untapped Growth.
yes.
I started reading books about like regenerative ranching, agriculture, the whole stop treating our soil like dirt. All that stuff, super fascinating. So I became interested, but my co-founder JP, he was really interested, and he started reading Texas Slim's blogs, The Harvest of Deception. He's like, hey, we gotta talk with this guy, like, because we're building this marketplace, and it'd be cool to have all this like beef and local food, farm to table type stuff on the Oshi app. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. So actually, Kyle Murphy, around that exact same time, is like, hey, there's someone I need for you to meet. And I'm like, who? He's like, Texas Slim. I was like, perfect. My co-founder like just emailed him like a couple days ago. So we talked with Slim, and we were basically like, okay, so we can help provide more of like a market outreach to bring these Bitcoiners to these cattle ranchers so they can accept Bitcoin, right? And we were telling them like, look, we're doing all we can on our end. We're building users, we're doing all this, but at the same time, like people are going to want to pay with fiat too. And so they fired up. JP actually helped build out most of the website and some of the back end stuff for Beef Initiative. Like fire up the website. You can buy beef for Bitcoin or dollars on the site. I went and onboarded KNC Cattle Cole from KNC Cattle that I met through Slim. And before you know it, there's a movement that Slim started, had a marketplace on Oshi where they could sell their beef. And initially it was going to be like, we're going to sell the beef through Oshi, like for Bitcoin. And then we're like, well, there were plenty of things that we also had on the roadmap, and there's always walls you run into. So we're just like, we'll just throw it on the website. But now we do have a bunch of beef boxes on Oshi. People are buying it. And it just makes it easier to source your food locally, whether it's beef, turkey. We have a local rancher here just outside of Austin, just east of Austin in Thrall, Texas. That's you can buy like turkey reservations, holiday turkey reservations.
Awesome.
It's like $50. It's going to be like $7.50 a pound. But these are pasture raised turkeys. So at the Thanksgiving dinner table this year, whenever I tweeted about this the other day, like whenever Uncle Bob says, "Hey, Bitcoin's a scam," what are you going to tell them? Are you going to tell them, oh, Bitcoin is the thermodynamic bridge between the physical and the digital world? Maybe.
No,
Are
you're
you
gonna
going
say no turkey for you, Uncle Bob.
Yeah, well, you gotta say Bitcoin is digital gold, or are you gonna say Bitcoin just bought this turkey, bitch?
Right?
Like
Yeah.
it's real. There's no
Mhm.
scam here, right?
Mhm.
So I think through food, it's become a very, very interesting like commingling too of different communities. The people that are aiming to be more self-sovereign or already are now meeting a more self-sovereign money, and vice versa.
Mhm.
So it's fascinating.
So do you get the same pushback from the general person, or do you have an angle necessarily you'd like to introduce first to the beef rancher that you meet?
Yeah. So one thing that Slim always talks about is he's the guy that's mainly going around the country and like talking to these ranchers predominantly. Oftentimes, whenever we get a lead or someone reaches out to us, it's because they heard about it from Slim. Or recently, there's a ranch up in Wyoming. It's called Carter Country Meats. Like, just looks like a beautiful ranch, awesome website, beautiful family. They also have like a burger place that they own that's like all grass fed and finished beef, tallow, fries, like looks awesome. And somebody from the Beef Initiative conference actually, that was in Colorado, went up to Wyoming and was driving around, and I guess met up. They called him up and was like, "Hey, you should accept Bitcoin for beef." And this guy just like instantly got it, right? His name's RC. He just instantly understood. Like, yeah, this makes sense. Like he's already living that self-sovereign lifestyle, and he wanted to tap in. So sometimes we get leads that way. Other times, Slim, what I've heard him say oftentimes is you just go, approach him and say, "Hey, teach me how you do things. Like, how do you run your farm? How do you run your ranch? Like, what are your struggles?" Things like that. And I think in general, that's just a good way to get someone's ear, right? Ask them to tell you about their craft and their trade. And over time, you'll probably start seeing a lot of overlap to Bitcoin there naturally. And then you can fit in some Bitcoin,
That's great. We before you came on, we were actually planning on going out and paying a visit to a few of these ranches. Alan's contacts, he's gonna get in touch with them actually this evening. So what are some pointers? Like, what do you suggest? This is all new to us, but like, should we pitch Oshi? Is there examples of, hey, go check out, some of the places you just mentioned, or what is your suggestions on the best way for us to go and try to help out with the uh, recruiting the local ranchers and farmers?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, I think it's important for them to know that although they're using Bitcoin as a payment mechanism, they can still get dollars if they want, right? And that is going to get them like a lower payment processing fee. It's more like peer to peer, it's like digital cash. But the reality is that look, they don't have to understand exactly what Bitcoin is. They can know that there are people that are willing to buy half a cow, whole cow, quarter cow, whatever from you right now, and they want to pay in Bitcoin. And for you to get it set up to accept Bitcoin, it's going to take you 5 minutes, and you can still convert it to dollars. There's no problem. It's kind of that angle too. Like they don't have very many people that are coming up to them and they want to buy in bulk. Buying in bulk helps them, and especially now it helps them because they're probably trying to offload a lot of their cattle anyway because the feed is getting too expensive and they can't afford it. So you can also just educate them about how the Bitcoin community is really into like this whole self-sovereign lifestyle. They respect the craft of the rancher. They respect that proof of work, right? We're one and the same. Just one of us doesn't know much about ranching and the other one doesn't know about Bitcoin. We're like this, we're your crew.
Yeah.
And there are people all over the country that will go out of their way to buy from a rancher just because they're accepting Bitcoin. Like that kind of pitch. Look, you don't have to care about Bitcoin, but there are people that will buy from you. Like Cole from KNC, like several months ago, or maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, he has made one full Bitcoin in sales. And that was whenever the price of Bitcoin was higher, quite a bit higher than it is now too. And of course, he's been accepting Bitcoin that whole time, back when it was 50,000. So he's made a lot of sales in Bitcoin, and he's really blown up. And one of the main reasons for that is because he put one foot forward and started accepting it.
Something just struck me. I'm sorry to hog all the time, guys, but what struck me is I bet that a local rancher would actually be more eager to hear this information from another rancher. So is there any that you know of? Is there any ranchers that would be willing to take a phone call if we said, hey, don't believe us, nerds like you said that don't know a lot about the ranching life and what it means to be a rancher, but we have this guy over in Wyoming or this guy in Texas that would be willing to take your phone call and explain how this has been going for him over the last few months. Is there any people like that out there that you're aware of?
Yeah, I guarantee you. So, I mean, obviously Texas Slim talks with these guys often, but if you want like, someone that's currently ranching and doing all that, Texas Slim's, very knowledgeable about all that.
So
He's
Texas
talking
Slim
to other
himself
ranchers.
might be a good person to refer them to, and maybe he can have that conversation over the phone because like you said, I think somebody on a more even playing field would probably be a better salesperson in this regard instead of a pilot, a business person, and I don't know what I am. So I just not definitely not suited to tell a rancher how to sell his product. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like Jason Rick from Rick Ranches, I'm sure he would love to chat. And I know he's even said as much, I think. Hey, like if you're a rancher looking to start, like reach out to me.
But one thing I think about is I think it'd be nice to have a resource to say, I mean, it'd be kind of fun to explain. There is a huge initiative rolling across America. It started in Texas, the Texas Beef. Now you got the Tennessee Beef Initiative. You got the Missouri Beef Initiative. This is happening, and here's a podcast you can listen to and hear from the words of Texas Slim talk about what's happening in the space, and then maybe a phone call could follow if they're interested. But I think education would be really helpful. And if we could give him a podcast, for example, maybe Michael could recommend like a really good podcast he's aware of to get people started. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I know I know for a fact there was a podcast, I think a couple of them with Texas Slim, Cole Bolton, and
Mhm.
Jason Rick from Rick Ranches.
Mhm.
So those are the guys. I mean, those are the guys you want to talk
Yeah,
to.
that'd be good. We'll have to
Yeah.
find that link and put it on
Yeah.
telephones and share a link with people so they can listen in.
Yeah. I'll send it over to you. And I just want to say, like, so whenever I was in Reading, there was at one point where I was looking to buy a half cow or a whole cow. Like I was into it. I wanted to do it. This is
Mhm.
before I spoke with Texas Slim, and I talked to a guy at the gym, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I know a guy. Look up this ranch, whatever ranch. I don't remember what it was." I looked it up online. I found nothing. The Facebook, nothing. I could not find this ranch for the life of me. And so, and that's like, I'm pretty resourceful. I can typically find something if I'm looking. I didn't find anything.
Mhm.
And it's like, it just dawns on you, like, even if somebody wanted to go straight to the source, like straight to the rancher, there's a friction point there that is really high. And it,
Mhm.
for me, it's like, well, I guess I'll just, keep going to R&R Meats. I mean, they're butchering from ranchers, but I mean, I would rather just go direct to the rancher, right?
Mhm.
Exactly.
And so that's another reason why like the Beef Initiative exists. There's a database of ranchers on there, some of whom are getting, even though they haven't been like publicly mentioned on any of these big podcasts that Slim's been on daily, they are still getting sales by people discovering them through the Beef Initiative. And all that was is like a simple database.
Mhm.
So even
Yeah.
that is like a big deal. Right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, a place where they can advertise for them is awesome.
Exactly. And every little bit helps. But I mean, seriously, if you guys said, "Hey, there's 3 of us and we want to buy some
Mhm.
beef and we want to buy it with Bitcoin. And if you
Mhm.
don't want to take Bitcoin, then we'll go over to the other rancher."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
one of
that's
them's going to do it. It doesn't have to be like,
Yeah.
but you can just, you don't even have to say that. Just go to the next rancher and ask them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think part of the spiel should be things like ibex, though, because I'll tell them, look, if I'm buying half a cow from you, I'm not going to bring $1,000 in cash. I'm going to swipe a card, and then you're going to have to pay $30 or $40 of that for a fee. But if you do ibex, it's $10 if you don't believe in Bitcoin. It's 1%, right?
Ooh, I like that's good, Jed. I've
Yeah.
never like thought about like that. If you don't believe in Bitcoin, it's $10. If you do, it's 5.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that. Wow, I'm gonna use that.
But it's great to think that the guy, because I know a lot of these local ranchers, they go down to like the slaughterhouse. For example, in Cottonwood, they used to have the weekly Friday. I've been numerous times down to the sale, and they've actually shut down. So I think these farmers have been used to it. I'm not sure how they do it now, if they do online auctions, but it'd be much better for it to sell a whole on the hoof cow off the hoof, and they send it to the slaughterhouse, and you at the end of the day you pick up the meat down at the slaughterhouse. There's ways to do it that makes it much more appealing to the farmer than having to go through a sale, a yard stock, a livestock sale.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally agree. Another thing that I have picked up from listening to Texas Slim so often is the whole shake your farmer's hand catchphrase. And I think that's super imperative because I don't think that raising animals is the same across the country. Like right now, the area we're in is in a drought. So I know feed has gone up in price for almost all ranchers, but we also have an issue with water here. So it'd be interesting when we do shake their hand to see those kind of particulars in this region, because oftentimes this kind of thing incentivizes the farmers and the ranchers to unload their product early or to try to get rid of it, because it's a business. And when they're, calculating the pluses and minuses, when you're paying a huge amount for water and a huge amount, because a lot of these people are trucking water in just for their animals and it's costing them a fortune. So at the end of the day, the longer they keep these things, they're gonna actually end up in the negative. So I think when we do go out and shake their hand, they can fill us in on all this stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're motivated to, get rid of some cattle. So we'll have to actually, get more information when we're out shaking their hand. I'm excited to go check it out with you guys.
And they're likely to get a lot less if they offload it to some big processor than
In
it
bulk,
is.
yeah.
to offload it to you. It's a value for
Mhm.
value. It's like, look,
Right.
to them, the processor is just like this place where they're going to get what you get. But to us, it's like, we want that meat direct. Like,
Yep.
we want to know where it came from. We're effectively going to pay a premium for that, and that's all
Yeah,
right.
I,
Or
I,
really, it's not that we're still coming out ahead. It's still
yes.
going to be less than the grocery store, but we're getting more money to the rancher.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're cutting
absolutely.
out the middleman totally.
Yep.
That's gonna be better for the rancher.
Yeah.
Well,
And it's better for your family because you're eating better meat.
absolutely. All of those things. Because I mean, from what I've heard, the industry overall in around the world, but what I've heard even in the US is hurting. I've heard there's a lot of ranchers that are just saying, screw it, this is my last year. Like, we're not getting any more money for our product, but all of our costs are going up. I mean, just the
Mhm.
amount of fuel, like, I don't think a
Mhm.
lot of people realize how much fuel ranchers burn and the cost of feed and like all of these things are exponentially going up, but they haven't really been paid a lot more for the product. So, like all of you have said, if we do cut out the middleman, we can afford to pay a rancher a lot more directly and still save from what we would down at the local butcher shop or the local grocery store. And like Jed said, you're going to come off with a much better product.
Mhm.
I was in the same situation as Michael, where I was like, hey man, I want some good beef. You can tell the difference when you're eating beef. I was over in Ferndale, California, over on the coast, and eyeballing all the cows over there. I don't know if you guys have made a pilgrimage over there, but I mean, they look so happy. The weather's great. There's big, tall grass, and those cows taste amazing. So I bought a lot of beef over there and just brought a big old cooler and hauled it back and thrown it in the deep freeze. And it's a huge difference than these, corn fed, finished in a giant feedlot that crap you buy at a lot of grocery stores. So there's a lot of reasons to do this, and to help the local farmer. I mean, there's a myriad of reasons. So it's definitely something that we should push and support.
Yeah, absolutely. And it helps with community, right? We're buying the meat straight from the source. He's nourishing my family. We're nourishing his family with money that he can buy his family clothes, all that good stuff. So that's why I'm interested. I'm interested more of the community than the cheap beef. I mean, it will
Yeah,
be,
for sure.
but yeah, it's the community that we build.
We should document our escapades out into some of these things too, and then contribute them back. Maybe we can motivate other people in other communities to go out and do the same and be like, hey, like, let's go cruise out to the local rancher like Slim does and like Jed and Alan did. And maybe we can, help grow from a grassroots level, no pun intended.
Well, I
Other,
say let's buy a beef with Bitcoin. We'll
yeah.
bring the rancher onto the podcast and we'll
Ooh, I
talk
like
to the
that.
rancher in person.
Mm,
That would
Yeah,
be really fun to do.
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I'll
That
take a
would be
quarter.
very like you guys. So we have an idea for the B-commerce podcast to do. We call like a Bitcoin baptism for business owners, right? You guys should
Ooh,
do a Bitcoin baptism for rancher. They come in, they're curious, they don't know much, and you guys just convince them as to
yes,
why they should accept Bitcoin. And I
I
mean,
like
shoot,
it.
you could do it
Alliteration.
by the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Bitcoin baptism for beef raisers. The triple B.
Bitcoin beeftism. Yeah,
Yeah, I like it.
yeah, yeah.
So, do you guys want to switch gears and see like maybe other uses? Like it's been tough for us because the use case in the US hasn't been Bitcoin as a monetary unit. So when we have tried, and I mean, we have right in our presence right now, the Bitcoin Messiah himself pursuing freedom, Mr. Alan Jackson. And that guy has pushed Bitcoin, well, I don't know, maybe shoved orange pills down more throats than anyone that I've ever heard of.
Gently.
Yeah, it's been loving. I mean, I got a video of him last night trying to orange pill a couple of ladies at a table in a bar, and I'm pretty sure they thought maybe he was trying to pick up on them, but he had no ulterior motives, ladies. You can rest assured. But they still gave that look like, oh, what does this guy want? But anyway, see, that's a great part about being he doesn't have ulterior motives. He's not trying to get anything for himself. So I mean, he can
So
get
last
shot
night,
down and
so
go ahead.
last night we're sitting at the meetup and we're sitting outside because there's no space inside. There's no space in the courtyard. And as everybody walked by, I would say, "Hey, are you here for the Bitcoin group?" And so multiple people got asked this question. And
Multiple.
finally, this girl walks by with her 2-year-old son. I asked the question. She goes, "Yes, I am." She
Yeah.
had been looking for us inside. She came, she found us online, and had we not mentioned it to her, she might have missed us totally. And so it was a delightful young lady with her 2-year-old son. She had a woe of unfortunately, someone had scammed her and taken her Bitcoin and Ethereum. At the end of the night, though, you know, we made friends. We gave her a Moon wallet. 3 or 4 of us gave her some sats. She'll be back because, and she realized really quick, there are friends here. These people are serious about sharing the wealth, sharing the knowledge, and she knew she could trust us. It really was a great experience last night.
Shout out to Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Katy
Yeah.
Perry.
Her name was Katy Perry. Isn't that crazy? So we had a famous country musician named Alan Jackson in our midst, and we also had a famous pop artist by the name of Katy Perry at the meeting last night. So we were rolling like the rich and famous here at the Reading Bitcoin meetup.
You got to promote that, right? But, hey,
Yeah.
Katy Perry was at her last month. Katy Perry was at our
Yes.
meetup. Maybe she'll be back.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, and it wouldn't be a lie. Or for you country folk, Alan Jackson will be there.
Buy her album with Bitcoin.
Yeah, ooh, even
That's
better.
hilarious.
Bring your guitar next time, Alan.
Okay, we'll have to put
So,
together a duet.
What
Guitar and Sing
about
by Katy Perry?
other businesses? What's a good approach, and what are you doing down there? And can you tell us like any new exciting developments? I know you moved, and we're all jealous because you're in the Bitcoin Mecca, as we like to call it up here, from your old stomping grounds. But is there any new exciting stuff? Are you guys spreading the good word via the Oshi app? And maybe part 2 is like, give us pointers for how we can go out and maybe spread the love up here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. So in terms of Oshi, so we have some cool things rolling out that's going to help meetups out a little bit more. If you may have already seen some of the things that, well, actually, I don't even know if they've released it yet. So I can't speak to
talk about it.
Yeah, you're going to be able to get really good deals on like conference tickets and stuff if you continue to attend meetups. So if you attend like a meetup like 8 times, you're going to get like awesome deals on conferences, like massive sats back. If you maybe after like 2, punches of like a digital gift card, you check in twice, maybe you'll get a deal on like S9 miners, like just to tinker with, so that people at the meetup that just want to like try it out, they'll get a nice setup with that. Maybe they'll get like a huge discount on a beef box, from KNC. Maybe they'll get different things. So that's all available. If you've seen the most recent update of the Oshi app, you'll see that we have all the meetups all over the country. Links to their meetup.com page. You can check out like every meetup. It's lit up like a Christmas tree, the United States, and then in Europe too. Nice. So we're helping with that. On the side of the businesses, what we're finding is we're constantly having to like lower the bar, like in a good way. I wouldn't say lower the bar. I would say lower that barrier to entry. Whenever I first got started with Oshi, it was okay, you're going to accept Bitcoin and you can still get dollars, and you're going to like do all this KYC first, and you have to do all this stuff for one of our payment providers. And then like, we're just starting, we literally have no users for you. So I don't know, good luck, and we'll see what happens. Right. But then it turned into, okay, you're going to get set up to accept Bitcoin in 5 minutes right now on your phone with something like IBEX. No KYC, dollars or Bitcoin, or, KYC if you want dollars. So then we're like, okay, this is so easy. Businesses are going to love this. And we did see more businesses that were interested. And at the very least, the ability to set them up very quickly and efficiently was like far superior. Right.
Yeah.
So any business that said yes, it's like, all right, yes, let's do it. Like right now, right now. But that step is still too high for some businesses. Like for me, like this little step before at the very start was like, yeah, I can get that, but maybe I'm like having to jump. And yeah, see, it's easy.
Mhm.
But then we lowered it about half that. So now a lot of business owners are still looking at it like, I mean, that's kind of a big step for me. But now we're like kicking it down another peg again. We're like, okay, you don't even have to necessarily accept Bitcoin. Okay. What's gonna happen? We'll get you hooked up with Square. We'll sell your gift cards. We'll give Bitcoin rewards. The customer's going to pay in Bitcoin. You still get dollars. Don't worry about it. Right? It's not going to be a problem. But what's going to happen is whenever we go to pay you those dollars that we owe you, you're going to get hit with like a 3% fee. 2.9% plus 30
Right.
cents, baby. You want to keep getting hit with that? I mean, we already have a platform fee. So you want to get hit with that, or do you just want to start accepting Bitcoin?
Mhm.
You got 5 minutes. We can start doing this now. So, the pitch has changed over time. We have
Mhm.
someone in McKinney, Texas, in the Dallas area that's having a lot of success. Just saying like, "Hey, look, we're going to sell your gift cards. Sound good?" And they're like, "Sure." Right? Then you start selling their gift cards, and they're like, "No one ever buys our gift cards, ever." Like,
Yeah,
well,
but it's also a spot for you to advertise for them on your app.
Right. Marketing.
exactly. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I mean, I have some materials for y'all after this, and we also have like some serious sales materials for you guys that we can give you very soon. Like the other one, we had like the Oshi playbook. Now we have like the Oshi manual. I mean, it's really, there's a lot in there, and a lot of stuff that's worked for us and things that we've learned over time. So I could give you guys that. But yeah, there's a guy McKinney. He's doing awesome work with it. Um, and it's better just to show than it is to tell above all else. So anytime you guys have a business, especially if it's like a Square business in Reading or something, let me know. I'll get something set up with them, and then hopefully you can find the owner and say, "Hey, we actually bought this on the Oshi app. Have you heard it?" And they're like, "No." Well, yeah, we actually paid in Bitcoin and we got this gift card from you, and you got your dollars, and it's all good. But do you actually want to like do more here? And we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
I'm curious, with these business owners that can choose to keep their Bitcoin or convert to fiat dollars, what is roughly the percentage of people who understand the value of keeping their Bitcoin or can keep their Bitcoin? How would you gauge that percentage wise? Do you have any idea?
I would say that whenever I first started doing it, I would say like 80% of the businesses would just keep the Bitcoin. Now, did they understand the value of it? No, not really. They just thought it'd be cool to have some Bitcoin, and they didn't expect to be a whole lot of sales anyway. And that makes the barrier to entry easier if they're just going to hold the Bitcoin.
Right.
But now with IBEX, now that it is even easier to get set up and everything, I would say that percentage is down a little bit. Like some businesses opt to receive the dollars or a combination. But I would still say at least half the businesses still just hold on to the Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah. I every business that I signed up here in Reading, they're Bitcoin only. They haven't even done the KYB documents. They don't, I mean, it's not a huge amount of their sales. It's maybe a quarter of a percent or something right now, right? I mean, Fratelli's is kind of an oddball because we go there every week, right? So they're getting hundreds of dollars a week, right? But he just squirrels it all away into his private wallet. I sat down with him. I made him write down his seed. I made him take that home, put it in a safe spot. So yeah, here, every business so far has been accepting 100% Bitcoin.
Yeah,
But
that's
as
awesome.
we get more, I don't expect that to keep happening, but it would be great if 80% stayed in Bitcoin and only 20% were taking some cash. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think there are still some businesses there that I think if I reached out to them again, they would totally do it. I just need to pass them along to you guys. Like Theory, I'm pretty sure. Like,
Okay, I'll go. I went by Theory. I talked to Sam from Theory. And
Yeah.
the biggest challenge on a lot of these people's parts are the guys who have Square, because Square doesn't do like the other ones. They don't, it's not easy to plug in, right? So that's the biggest thing. Is Sam's thing is, I don't want to teach anybody anything new. You know, there's a little bit of barrier. Plus, I have this one device and I have to stay logged in, because if I log out to go ahead and go online into a URL, then that kind of throws a wrench in his gears. So that was the hard part with getting Sam on board. But yeah, I went over there. I dropped him a hat, gave him a hat, told him, hey, you know, gave him the whole spiel and told him to think about it. And hopefully, my hope is Square they're a big, you know, backer of Bitcoin anyway. Why don't they just make it easy and integrate it? You know, kind of like you're doing IBEX. So, you know, like the WooCommerce stuff. Why can't there be something like that for Square, that we can just pull something off there? You plug into your Square device. Fratelli's accepts dollars through Bistro, Cafe Bistro or something like that is their POS. They have a separate line item in there that they can click on, and he's renamed that Bitcoin. So it'll calculate all their sales, because he does all of that, but then he has to still pull out a personal device that's got the IBEX URL on it and go from there. But that's the biggest thing I see, is how do we integrate it into everybody's terminal? It'll get there. It's not there yet, but how do we integrate it into everybody's existing terminal to make it easy use for them?
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's a big thing for some people. But, you know, at the same time, it's like, you know, whenever a customer comes in and pays with cash, what do they have to do? All right, they got to punch in the number, the amount of dollars they got, and then it's going to tell them how much change they need to give out. They got to open up the drawer, they put it in, take out the cash, boom. Okay. If somebody pays with Bitcoin, you just take this iPad or the cell phone or whatever that's behind the counter, you punch in the amount, you turn it around, you have them scan it, it's done. I mean, sometimes I know, I understand, you know, what Sam's saying, but at the same time, like, look, I mean, what do you got to do whenever you take cash? I mean, look, it's few and far between. The Bitcoin, people paying a Bitcoin is going to be even less, at least at this point.
Yeah.
And it's going to be less of a hassle too. And additionally, like, it's really easy to train staff. Like, so I think every now and then people go, oh, like, I don't want to have to train my staff, all this stuff. We recently in Austin got the Meteor coffee shop, and this is like a busy coffee shop. It's right on South Congress, or they like coffee, food, wine, everything, right? And we recently got them set up, and they're like, whenever we got them set up with IBEX, they were like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. Like, this is so easy. And like the staff thinks it's super easy. Like, they just get this iPad down, they punch in the amount, they scan it, and then they have a little Bitcoin button too. Like, you know, you can add like, oh, this is payment was Bitcoin or whatever. With the Toast point of sale. And so I think it's very normal for business owners to have that reservation, but then you just be like, look, I mean, it's really, and then did you like whip out, you gotta like whip out your phone and be like, look, I'll show you. They do this, they punch this in, they hit, and then they scan it. That's it. It's done.
Yeah.
It's faster than a cash.
IBEX is really easy because it's just a payment terminal. It brings up, you type in the amount and you hit accept. Very easy IBEX. So I expect it to become easier, right?
Yeah, I mean, Uncle Jack's got to be really close to integrating Bitcoin payments into Square. I mean, it's got to be right around the corner, I would imagine. But
I imagine. Yeah, I imagine.
I'm gonna try to shift gears if you don't mind, guys, because I know Michael's time here is waning, and I'm super curious. And I know that most of the people that listen to our pods are still our local plebs and whatnot. Especially hearing comments last night, I was like, oh shit, I didn't know you listened. But anyway, they do. I was curious about, I know you came to this area. I just kind of wanted to know, since you're the godfather, the OG of the whole local thing, I wanted to hear the story, man, the little background story. I know you came here to work in the medical field. So maybe even your own personal journey to the coin, and then also like how you rolled it all out, like even timeframes. I don't know how long the Reading meetup's been going. I don't know jack shit. So if you could fill me in, I'm personally super curious about that whole story.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so yeah, I got my bachelor's in business, then I got a bachelor's in nursing, and then my goal was to do travel nursing right away. So by 2017, I had enough time in the ICU to now I could become a travel nurse. So my
Mm,
first assignment was Reading. So
wow.
2017, I show up. I think I showed up. I think it was like March of 2017. It was beautiful. I drove in from kind of from like the northeast, I think, because I had done like a trip up through Moab and around, and I'm driving. It's like so green and beautiful. It's like, oh my god, this is heaven! Like in the mountains, and everything.
Yeah.
By give it like May, and it's like everything's dead. I don't know, but it's still beautiful. But I
Yeah.
drove in, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is. Anyway, so I come in and I'm getting things situated. I'm figuring stuff out. Then my friends start talking to me about like crypto, Bitcoin, all this stuff. I don't know
Mhm.
anything about it. I started like buying little bits of Bitcoin and like trading it for shit coins. I didn't know what was going on.
Mhm.
Didn't know what was happening. Some of my friends are making like stupid, crazy amounts of money, and then they're like losing it all. And like we're just all figuring shit out. Um, and then in 2018, I actually went on assignment in San Francisco. And during that time, I was like kind of San Francisco and then Folsom. Anyway, so I read Atlas Shrugged. I did like a backpacking trip down in Patagonia, and I was listening to Atlas Shrugged, an audio book, like while I was hiking because I like doing that, and that was really just mind bending. Um, Definitely changed the way I thought about a lot of things. I mean, that whole book is basically just its philosophy wrapped up into a fictional story, and well, maybe not so fictional, really, as it just so happens. But and then I don't know, a month later, I don't know exact timeline. I was backpacking in Yosemite, and I was listening to the Bitcoin Standard,
Mm.
and so like that, like Atlas Shrugged, Bitcoin Standard, I was like, boom, all right, it's Bitcoin only. Like I just everything just clicked. My
Mhm.
prior life's experiences, some other reading that I had done, I was like, oh yeah, boom, this clicked. And so I like slowly just weaned off of all the shit coins and I focused Bitcoin only. Now, maybe it was like 2019. So I'm in Reading again on assignment and I'm like looking for a Bitcoin meetup and there's just nothing. There's just nothing. So there's a Bitcoin meetup, but it wasn't a Bitcoin meetup. It was like you go there and they're going to talk to you about shitcoins too. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like, cause I'm like I wasn't. It wasn't that long ago. I was into that stuff, and I'm like, I need to start a Bitcoin meetup. So I told the guy, he's a nice guy. I was like, hey, I'm going to start another meetup just for Bitcoin only, and I'm going to do it weekly. And you're more than welcome to join, like all that stuff. Um, and it was just me and Dick pretty much and Erica for
Oh,
like,
wow.
oh yeah, it was like this is
Mm.
maybe late 2019, early 2020. I don't know
Mm.
exactly. I guess you can see on the meetup page when it started, but
Mm.
um so yeah, we just started having it at like Woody's, I think is predominantly where we would have it.
Huh.
And sometimes like two or three people would show up. Then every now and then there would be like 12 and I like are like eight of you guys feds or something. It was really weird. They like kind of act like they knew each other, but like
Mhm.
they weren't really showing that they knew each other. It was this weird thing. I was like, I was like, what is this? Um and yeah, and then I just kind of kept pushing there and I started getting more involved and I wanted to find ways to get more people involved. And so that's whenever I came up kind of with the idea of Oshi. That was I think like late 2018, something like that, and um started talking with business owners and I guess it was 2020 maybe or 2021. 2021 I started like really talking with business owners in Reading, getting them set up. We did a first little meetup at the chicken place. I'm totally drawing a blank.
Chicken Shack?
Bantam,
Oh,
Bantam.
Bantam.
Bantam. That's right. Yeah, Bantam. Yeah, we had some meetups there too. That's right. We had meetup. So yeah, Bantam. She was awesome. She's like, yeah, let's do this. So she like got her keg out, and we had all these people. We did like I don't know, 30% sats back on beer or something. That was like the Oshi first test, and we had like 30, 40 people show up, and I'm
Wow.
like, damn. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's all we got to do. We just got to like promote it a little bit. We got to give away some
Grab
free
the keg.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody came. They were like using Strike. They're using different Bitcoin wallets. They had no idea how any of this shit worked, but they came. They came prepared. They started, they were using Oshi. They were getting sats back. They were getting their beer. And then Kate from Bantam was receiving that Bitcoin. So then I was like, well, let's do this again. We went from 3 people a week to 40, Okay, let's try it again. And then that's when we did the Reading Bitcoin Summit. And I don't know, we had over 100 people there show up. I'm really bad with numbers on that, but anyway, somewhere around there, and using Bitcoin, or even if they weren't actively participating, they were around it and exposed to it. And that's so okay. So do I need to pause for a minute? The whole story here.
No, I love
So
that, man. That's awesome.
yeah, so then I passed the torch over to y'all. Kyle Murphy reached out to me, and I was already thinking, my parents live here in Austin as well, in the Austin area. And I was like, probably need to head over to Austin soon, because if I'm working on a Bitcoin project, and that's just the place to be. That's kind of the epicenter right now. And so Kyle Murphy, actually, I reached out to him, and I was just wanted to chat because he was all about Bitcoin and community. I was like, hey, I got this thing called Oshi, and I think it could help like build a Bitcoin community there and build like businesses accepting it, and we can really get some sort of circular economy going. So I went and visited, and I was just kind of sold on the whole idea. I joined up with Pleb Lab, which is just a Bitcoin incubator of sorts for startups, co-working space kind of thing. It's evolved since then. But so yeah, I left Reading, hit the ground running in Austin. Before I left Reading, I guess we got 20 or so businesses to like get set up to accept Bitcoin payments through OpenNode, and then Oshi was kind of like the interface so that people could do. And like, not very. If I went to them now, they'd probably be like, "What's Oshi?" They probably forget. Oh yeah, it was that thing from like, but hey, we got to say yes. And I was like, okay, if I can get businesses to say yes up here in Northern California, I can for sure get them to say yes in Austin. And that's what happened. And we just kept growing it and building it up, and slow and steady traction, slow and steady number of businesses. So that's kind of what's been going on.
And you work with JP. Where did you meet JP?
In college.
Okay,
Yeah, in
cool.
college. Yeah, funny story. So up in Lubbock, I went to school at Texas Tech. Since we began working on this together, 2018, I have not seen him in person one time. It has been entirely just like over the phone, like videos. He's doing his own thing. He's got his family. He kind of stays put where he's at. I'm doing my own thing. He codes it. I try to sell it.
Well, I love
That's
that
great
whole
too.
backstory. Yeah, that's I mean, it fills in a lot for me, and I think what really hits me, a few things. First is my name is Michael and I'm a shitcoiner. I think almost everyone's story includes that. Like all of us, well, maybe not you, Alan, but anyway, I love it. The thing that really struck me is man, that's not that long ago. All this stuff has been evolving so fast, and it's like the whole analogy of the folding the paper, and exponential is a word where it's like exponential growth, exponential whatever, and all these grassroots movements, all these the things you've done, like the butterfly effect, even though you don't think what you're doing is making a huge impact, it is, and keep it up. Don't we need the collective will of the people to say, hey, we want the power back, we want our value back, we don't want to be stolen from anymore, we want, and like guys like you are making it happen. And so like it's super cool that you started this whole movement here in Reading, and hopefully we'll carry the torch for you and do great. But I know you got to go, so I just wanted to get off the mic and let these other guys maybe have the last few words at you.
Hey, I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks there at the Bit Boom Block conference. That should be awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Are you able to come on Wednesday? Is that too early? I think we talked about
It's
this
too
already.
early. It's too early.
Okay.
My ticket's like late in the evening, but had I
Okay.
known, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And you got your ticket through Oshi.
I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Awesome.
looking forward to seeing you there.
You got any parting words, Jed?
No, not really. I think we pretty much said it all.
Well, hey, thanks, Michael. I mean, it's we've been looking forward to this and excited to see everything you're doing. And like I said, we'll try to keep the torch burning hot here and help getting the Bitcoin word out there, man.
No,
Well,
you-
thanks again.
Yeah,
and
for
tell
sure.
Erica we said hi. We miss
Absolutely.
Erica too.
Yeah.
I know. I should have had her. Maybe we should have done a
Yeah,
Well,
we
we
can
can-
do one. Well,
two
let's do it-
person, one mic.
Well, we
Yeah.
can do one with her about her experience at Bitcoin Magazine at some point. I think that'd be great.
That would
Yeah.
be awesome.
Great idea.
Yeah.
That'd be
I
cool.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep up everything you guys are doing. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, even though sometimes it might not seem like it's doing a whole lot, but
Mhm.
and maybe, individually it's not. Like maybe individually, like I'll speak for myself. Like maybe individually I contributed in certain ways in which got people just thinking about it. But from there, like there are people all over the country, well, before me, and whenever I started and after I started, that are now like really just taking this and carving their own path and blazing their own trail and going to farmers markets and like that's the beauty of this entire movement.
100%.
You don't have to be hired by somebody to do it. You
Yep.
don't have to. You just do it.
Yeah.
Like Alan.
Yep.
Everybody here. You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
No, we actually talked about that on the meetup last night too, where it's like everybody is just as important, and it's like the community, even people like giving out coins to their family and friends, and like you said, it might not be that touch, but it is, it gets the seed planted in their head, and by the third touch, they're like, hey man, there's something to this, and then it pushes them over where they're going to actually go out and put in the time and effort to actually learn on their own. So you're right. Every person is integral in taking their value back, going, hey, maybe there's something to this thing. Like, and you're the first person that said anything. Alan's the first person to influence me in this area. And so I think, everybody is important in this whole network, in this whole human Bitcoin network.
That's right. Well, hey, Michael, thanks so much for
Yes,
joining us.
absolutely.